The game plays right here.
Are you ready for some football?
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, and WCSL Cherryville Gastonia.
Chosen breed, you don't see too many like me. Cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you. Cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
In studio, Kevin Hastings. Well, I'm live in studio. Tom Centofanti is live and in studio, and Hunter is just spending his quarantine time all types of wrong. Tommy,
yeah.
Every time we look up, he's somewhere he probably shouldn't be, but he's got his sunglasses on, his hat. I'm pretty sure you can't wear a hat in those establishments, Hunter. Turn around backwards.
All I gotta say is I slipped him an extra 10.
Okay. So you're good, Hunter. Well,
I'm good.
Welcome everybody on the show today. I'm gonna run down the hall and check sounds and links while you guys kind of touch base on what else going on in the world of sports. College football is it looks like it's canceling left and right. We'll see what's gonna happen with that. So with that said, Hunter, welcome to the show. Don't spend all your ones in one place, or now $2 bills in one place.
We're gonna do exactly that. But I think I'll move back to the office space right now. Tom, how are you doing today? It is the start of a new week.
Not real well. Big Ten canceled their football today, so it's just kind of depressing. Don't know what to say, but I guess it is what it is. I mean, a lot of people saw this coming. I don't think the Pac-10's officially canceled yet, but I could see them canceling pretty soon. I think the SEC will be your holdout for the longest period of time. They'll hold out, but just real depressing. Just can't get over this stuff, and we're losing more and more, every single day. So that's just my depressing news of the day, Hunter.
I'm not shocked by it. I'm not surprised by it at all. Colleges move that way. I don't think it's just the coronavirus at all that caused this. I think the Big Ten and the Pac-12, establishment-wise, has been shaken up a little bit with the rise of what looks to be a players' union. There's obviously not a name for it right now, but to me, that's what it looks like it's going to be. I think the SEC and the ACC still get it in, even though Trevor Lawrence has expressed, his how he feels about the situation as well. He's siding almost with the Pac-12 and the Big Ten players as well. You're going to see that more and more. It just comes down to which conferences are going to play. And to me, if this is the case, the Big Ten's backing down, Pac-12's back down, or assumed to back down. To me, I don't see why SEC and the ACC don't do a joint season. I don't see why they don't compete with each other. Well, I mean, that's, of course, excluding the Big 12 because they haven't decided anything. But, I mean, seriously, if the Big 10's going to back down and the Pac-12 is, but the ACC and the SEC and the Big 12 continue to go on, why not just play each other? Just play each other.
I guess it just remains to be seen. I mean, I guess there'd be some logistical issues maybe getting transportation arranged and everything, but it's just going to be just a sad fall without college football on Saturday the way it ought to be. I mean, do you have a national championship this way? I mean, I guess the team still playing can play for a national championship.
I hate to be the Debbie Downer of you guys, but if the NFL plays, I won't miss a beat here.
Yeah. Oh, I know you know.
But you know,
I'll say this. Though,
I wish they would have made the decisions earlier, like we talked about. You know, if you would have, Tom, if they would have just said a month ago, hey, we're going to play in the spring, we wouldn't have to deal with the expectations. I always have the lowest expectations, and you can always be nothing but what impressed or excited about it. So they could have done this months ago. I just hope they don't do it for the love of the sport, and they do it for the safety of the game, what's best for the students. Kind of talked about a little bit last week, Tom. Should they even allow walk-ons to play on these football teams now? Each team has about 110 people on the roster. Should they even allow the guys, those 50 guys that aren't never going to get to play, or should they even be out there practicing, walking on? Washington State, they had a starter who said he's not going to play, and they told him he can't come practice anymore. He's basically been cut from the team. He can come to school. So, as far as if we're talking about safety and schooling, those kids need to be in school anyway. They're not going to the NFL. So you guys go to school, right, if that's what we're doing. But it seems like we contradict ourselves on whether we want to do what's right, what's safe, or what's best for the game, depending on whose pocketbook is affected.
I think their scholarships are protected,
right?
Are they not?
Okay, they should be.
Their scholarships are protected. So, I mean, it's a case-by-case decision. I was reading about a few players that had decided in the Big Ten. A kid from Michigan State had a respiratory illness in the past. He decided not to play. Another member of the team had a family member die of the coronavirus. He decided not to play out of his own safety. So, I mean, there's stories like this across the nation that, if you're susceptible, if you've had family issues, so on and so forth. I mean, like you say, Kevin, you do get your scholarship, but it's not like you're making a multi-million-dollar salary to take, not only your life, but somebody else's life. And I guess that I have to respect the decision of anybody who decides not to play. But I think more's coming down. We still don't know where we are in the state of North Carolina as far as high school athletics. As we're not,
Yeah.
we don't even know what we're going to do. I mean, South Carolina's going to start on the 24th, but I guess that'd be up in the air. I mean, they had a school down in Georgia, went back to school, weren't following the guidelines, and I think they had 8 or 9 kids get the coronavirus in a week. So
what if you're one of these kids that's deciding on whether to go to South Carolina or not? When do you make that decision? If you're going to go, or because you wait around too long, whether you should play or not, you wait around too long, the state's going to make that decision for you, and you might not even get to play. Or if you play in South Carolina in the spring, in the fall, can you play in the spring if North Carolina plays?
Yeah.
I've got that question to be answered, and nobody has any answers across the board on anything.
No, I heard this. He's not gonna. He will remain unnamed. I did talk to an assistant coach for that I know from one of the high schools in the area, and I asked him. I just straight out asked him. I said, "What do you think?" He said, "It's not gonna happen." He was just blunt with me.
What's not going to happen?
The high school athletics. He said, "I don't." He said, "I don't." Yeah, he said, "I don't see it happening." He said they're waiting too long.
Yeah.
And
We've
eventually it's just going to get. Yeah, we've said that for weeks, and I think he hit it right on the head. He said, "I just don't see it happening because," and it was basically a lot of the stuff that we've said. That it's football. They're rubbing up on each other. They're touching each other. And they're not pros. They're not getting paid. This is different between the professionals. So, and like I said, I'm not going to say who it was, but he just flat out, I just asked him, I said, just give me your honest opinion. He said, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I think more than anything, it is because nobody can just make a split decision. Nobody can just say, okay, this is what's happening and we're rolling with it. We've said it for weeks. You've got 3 decisions here. Play, move it to the spring, or cancel. It's one of those 3. We don't need to just keep jumbling up in the air. If you're waiting to see what happens to everybody else, then you're going to be waiting too late. That's really what's going to happen. Like, if you're looking around, seeing, oh, well, let's see how South Carolina does. Let's see how Virginia does. Let's see how some of these other local states do if they are playing the season right now. And then we'll make a decision. Well, that could be 3 or 4 weeks too late. And it's like, oh, these kids are only going to get to play 6 games this season. And then is it really worth it?
Yes.
And so that's what everybody has to really think about. If you can't just make a decision now, because if you go ahead and decide now, okay, we're going to move the season to the spring, then everybody can go ahead and start making plans on, okay, well, we're going to start having practices on this day, and we're going to go ahead and start getting the schedules drawn up, and it's going to start here, here, and here. And you kind of get a jump start on it, and you're ahead of the curve, and everything's ready to go by the spring. Right now, with you trying to fly by the seat of your pants, nothing's going to happen. Nothing at all. And that's why I kind of agree that I think they're just waiting. I think it's just too late at this point to try and get a football season in. I know that's crazy, but if you were going to shorten it anyways, then why would you not just move it to the spring?
Well, because of like we talked about, the other things you're going to run into. You're going to run into the spring sports and facilities and blah, blah, blah. It's not impossible. I mean, you could do it, especially with a shortened season. It would just be a lot more difficult to have everything in the springtime.
Well, here's the thing. If they just are canceling football, though, then they'll just cancel every other sport.
I don't see how you can let them play soccer if they don't play football. I mean,
I don't see how you can let them play basketball.
Yeah,
either.
how can you let them play basketball? How can you let them play soccer? How could you let them wrestle? I just don't see how you're going to let them do anything
Contact
else.
sports, I mean, you can't. You just can't. I mean, baseball could get away with it, but it comes to the point where then you're going to have students and you're going to have, obviously, parents and faculty or even coaches that look at it and say, well, you canceled my season, but the baseball season gets to come in still? You canceled basketball, wrestling, football, and women's basketball and all these other sports, but the spring sports get to happen?
Yeah,
It's just one of those things where, I don't know.
I'm looking at
just wait too late.
I'm looking at the South Carolina numbers, and they're coming down. So, I mean, I think South Carolina's heading in the right direction. We're heading down, but not quite as like South Carolina is. And this is.
But Tom, what's the goal? Is it 0 or some? Because you see what I mean?
Yeah.
That they're making the decision without saying what the goal is. Because if
Right.
you want it 0, then we've got to fight for 0. But we're not having a line like in So if you say those numbers are encouraging, someone else who believes the complete opposite of you will say those are discouraging. We still have cases. There's always one of those. So like, what is the deal? Are we getting rid of? So this is what I think. As far as high school and college, if they were smart, they would watch what the pros do. Watch the NBA bubble, watch Major League Baseball, watch the NFL guys in the NASCAR and the golf, and see how they handle it, see how it spreads, and again, how bad is it? If you've got a whole Marlins team get it, not a single one of them goes in the hospital, then you could probably say, well, maybe we could have 4 or 5 kids on a team get it and still play our season. But if people are if the death rate was 50-75%, then you would say, well, nobody needs to get it. But that's my thing is, what's the line of if the Marlins come through, like I said, and nobody is really affected at it, that they just had it. I think if the colleges and the high schools would just say, we're going to the spring, we'll figure that out in the next 4 months. Right now, let's get everybody do whatever we need for school, watch the pros, let's use what does and does not work. And Hunter and Tom, some schools, some sports may not play. And whether it's, if say the NFL comes back and they can't keep it off people because they're tackling each other, I think the NBA is the best example because they are rubbing up against each other. They're sweating on each other. They're breathing. You can't not do that in basketball. So if you see what happens there, whether there's an outbreak or whether someone gets violently sick or something, I think they should go there. But worrying about the timing of it, I think we can. That ship has sailed. They could have done that in June or whatever. I think.
I'll say this.
But right
though,
now, I think they should look maybe to the spring. Go ahead, though.
I'll just say this though. I mean, if it comes, we've been saying this for weeks. Nobody, it seems, in any league can put anything out there on paper that if we hit this number, it's over.
Right.
And now nobody and nobody's doing the same thing as, well, if we get the numbers down to this number, it's okay. Because it would be kind of be irresponsible to say we have to get the numbers down to 0, because we still have a vaccine for the flu, but people get the flu every year. And, 75% of people, even if they get the flu vaccine, it can still, or not 75% of people, it's like 75,000 people still die a year from the flu. And we have a vaccine from it. So it comes down to one of those things where I'm not trying to just say, the coronavirus is just a flu. It is a strain of it, and it's a little bit stronger. But it's one of those things where it's almost unrealistic to say, we can't start back up and can't have these kids go to if it's at zero. We can't play these sports if it's at zero, because kids will play football and basketball during prime flu season.
Right.
And if they catch the flu, it's just, hey, you can stay at home.
Well, Tom, it is, as far as, a lot of this stuff is also colleges and these high schools. They're public institutions, government institutions. So with the travel ball being allowed to pretty much do whatever they do, and they can, I don't know what protocols they have to have or if any.
Depends on where you go.
So my question with that is that, does that mean, this is a government schools type issue to why this is taking so long as far as any of these decisions to be made? Because if the travel ball kids can play baseball at 4-8 teams on the field in one day, why can't high school kids play baseball one game on one field in a day? I think that's a big question as far as that. And is that a government cover your ass type thing with lawyers and stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? Somewhere there's a decision there. Right. I
think eventually that's what you got to. I mean, and who's what rules govern is your guess is as good as mine, because when I've done some baseball, I've done some at a private school. I've done some at a charter school.
Okay.
I've done some at Legion Parks.
Yep.
But
I've seen public parks full of kids. How about this? There's a public park I drive by sometimes on Sundays where they allow in the baseball, but they have police tape around the bleachers and the playground. So.
No, I saw that in Shelby. At their Little League field was full of kids playing Little League. I guess they had just kicked their Little League down, and they started up their Little League, and it was some of the biggest crowds I've seen at Shelby Little League in a long time.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of kids aren't playing the travel because they don't,
They want to play something, yeah.
But they want to play something, so a lot of them are playing. Younger kids look like 12-year-olds, had some softball and such.
Hey, boy.
So, I mean, I was just riding my bike around town, and I was like, look at this, because the park's been dead all summer, and then all of a sudden it had all these teams out there. So it is difficult to say who's in charge of what. I can tell you, Kevin, that they are letting them play. Like one example is Big League Park in Marion. They do take your temperature. They will not let you inside the facility with a temperature, but they are having various leagues play up there.
How accurate are those head scanner things? Because they did that to my wife and I at this restaurant we were going in. I was wondering, it's only 110 degrees outside right now. Is there any way this isn't going to, if you're scanning my forehead, I'm pretty sure it's hot.
Well, I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, and they had various ways to take your temperature that I won't get into right now, but that's a lot less. That's
way more invasive.
Yeah, way more invasive ways. But this little light to the head thing, mine, when I go to the chiropractor, or if I go to the big league or whatever, it's always the same thing. Mine's always 97.6 if I'm healthy, which I think is 98.6 is what they say, but there's some variance. So I don't even know.
The science changes every day.
I don't know what they would say is actually a fever. Is 99 degrees of fever. It's 99.5 or 100. So what is a fever?
Unless it says 100, Tom, don't worry about it. You can shake it off.
Okay. Well,
start from there.
It's just... it's just, you're trying to figure out like what is the standard. The problem is there is no standard. There's no standard for anything right now, and it's confusing everybody. And until we, you make another good point of what do we got to do? Got to get the numbers to zero or flatten the curve. Well, arguably South Carolina's flattening their curve. North Carolina a little bit. New York's is pretty flat. I mean, considering where they were at. I mean, but nobody in the Northeast is doing anything. The Ivy League canceled everything already, a few weeks back. Yeah. So who knows what the standard is? You can't say the standard is the standard with this because there is no standard.
Well, Old Dominion,
nobody can decide what they're doing. That's the problem.
We talked about Old Dominion
Nobody
Saturday.
has a straight decision.
And they canceled Wake Forest is who, remember, they wouldn't play App for and decided to go play Old Dominion instead. and Old Dominion just announced they're canceling all fall sports. So now that opens back up for Wake. We'll see how if they decide to take that on again. That actually opens up a day also, Tom, for Charlotte. Charlotte plays Old Dominion this year, supposed to. So you guys lost a date on that as well.
Charlotte made up a game with UNC.
Yes.
They will be playing North Carolina this year.
Yes, I did, and we joked. We talked about that last week or so. North Carolina was looking for their one non-conference game.
Oh, right. They got Charlotte.
And I said it wouldn't be at boys, and they're bringing the 49ers into the house. Tom, I will 100% be pulling for you guys in that game.
All right.
And shut those tar holes up down there. Ain't
Well,
that right,
that's
honey?
your team.
That's not my team.
You're a
Appalachian
Carolina
State
fan.
is my team.
Oh.
I will pull for the Tar Heel basketball team to beat the Duke Blue Devil team every time. But that's where my stand of my loyalty lies right now, and that's about it. They've, I'd say that school's made some bad decisions the last 20-so years. Hunter.
Yes.
You said high school guy you didn't think was going to play. I didn't think either. I think we're going to the spring on these, and I think the sooner they make the decision, then you can just get prepared for it, get your schedules in line, make the soccer coaches happy or whoever else you got to make happy, and then the kids gonna have to choose. Football to me, and we kind of brought this up with the conference's realignments the other day, and maybe not every school needs it or has to have it or should have it. So that and other sports you can kind of think about. I'm not sure what to do, because you'd say if, for example, if I was playing Bessemer Cherryville, football would probably be the last of the three sports we play because we're going to make the playoffs in the other two. But if I'm not on the field for the football team, it's not like we're going to win if I was there anyway. But it would put a big hole, and I wouldn't be helping my friends and my teammates not being there and stuff like that. So, playing the multiple sports, I kind of worry about some of those guys. But you just got to play what you can do. Man, I don't know what position I don't know what I would do if all three of them were in the spring like that. I would hope baseball could be played in the fall, I believe, Tom.
Oh, yeah. I think they could, definitely. I mean, the
They're
weather's
playing
good.
the travel ball, the weather's fine in this area.
It would actually be better because it's always 98 degrees in the summertime. I mean,
Right.
so.
But you know what the problem is?
Mm-hmm.
Is that they're waiting too long.
Right,
They're just
yeah.
waiting too long. If you wanted to flip flop baseball and football, you should have done it 2 weeks ago
Or a month ago, right?
or a
100%
month
right.
ago. Yeah, you're right. I think that's just what the problem
I
is.
think the first step
and-
should have been, hey guys, how about let's do this? Non-contact in the fall. In like July, I mean not July, but in June, this is how we're going to do this. We're going to plan for non-contact in the fall, and then we'll adjust from there. If they have to cancel from there to there, then you got your basketball and football already planning for the spring, and then your baseball already planning for the fall. And then instead, like you said, Hunter, we've all went to this kind of the same chronology that we've always had, and it's you can't. I don't think you can look at that based on the contact sports if that's what you're going to try to do is avoid them. And then the fans and that you got that issue. Do you tell mamas and daddies they can't come to games? Yeah. And then do you charge them?
Do you know what's tough too that no one's really talking about when it comes to now that the Big Ten has canceled their season and all these other schools are canceling their seasons? We said it for weeks. What about the guys that needed this season? What about that they needed this season to prove that they were worth a draft pick? That you're talking millions to a couple $100,000s that these guys have never seen before in their life, that they've worked hard for 2.5 if they want to leave after their junior year, to 3-4 years if they're leaving after their senior year. Like, this was a very important season. Yes, Caleb Farley decided that he wasn't going to play in general, whether they had the season or not. But what about the other guys that were like, yeah, that's okay, I understand that. You're kind of projected as a first-round draft pick. Me, on the other hand, I'm borderline third, fourth, maybe even the third day pick, like a 6th or 7th router. And they needed this. Man, they needed this. And I think that's what's so crazy. Sure, this gives the guys maybe an early jump that are guaranteed basically to be draft picks. Like, you can go ahead and start working out now and get prepared for the NFL draft and the combine. But, man, you're talking about hundreds of guys that were just borderline, and now they might not even get a undrafted free agent spot because nobody knows how they were this final season.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. It's just saying that, the Big Ten vote was supposedly 12-2, but then somebody from the Big Ten said that there was no vote. So how could you cancel the season without a vote?
I don't even see anything about it, Tom, on the internet.
I saw something about
it.
A
just
vote.
says
It was
top
said
5
it
are
was
talking
12-2,
about it.
No, this is from the Detroit Free Press said that the Big Ten Conference voted 12-2, but then a spokesman for the Big Ten Conference said no such vote took place. So if no vote took place, how could the season be canceled?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The ESPN's not reporting anything as far as it being canceled at all.
Okay.
It's just saying Power 5 talking about no fall football. So there may have been I bet there was a non-formal vote, you think, maybe? And
Maybe.
then somebody leaked it?
Well, then another report said that both the Big Ten and Pac-12, Hunter, got it right, Pac-12 will cancel their seasons Tuesday. So, yeah, maybe this was, what do they call it, the straw poll? To see, okay, how's the vote going to go down?
Yeah.
So, and then the next day, so we're all prepared. We can all go to Aunt Betsy's cupboard and get a little sauced up after it happens because we're going to be depressed, I guess. But it's just, the media is trying to stay ahead of it. But it looks like the official announcement won't come to tomorrow. So I think, Kevin, you're right that it's not official yet.
Okay.
And there's pushback against it, although some media sources are reporting the Big Ten's canceled their season.
Well, can colleges then say if the SEC and the ACC are still going to play that we're going to move from the Big Ten for a season and play in the ACC?
That's
or
what
SEC?
my next question
Yes.
was, if I could freelance. What if I'm Ohio State and I want to go out there and just play some teams?
The answer
Ohio State
the
can
answer is
compete.
the answer is yes and no. They would have they have a buyout clause for your conference. Okay. Whether that would be able to be enforced at this juncture is not considering. I'm sure you would have lawyers that would come out and say, Tom, if you're this was binding that we were going to play sports. If you guys are saying we're not playing sports, you're not going to sanction them. We should be able to go wherever we want
for a year.
Well, they may be able to go wherever they want. Period. I mean.
But Ohio State has no vested interest in leaving the Big Ten permanently.
I don't know. Maybe they do.
Why would they do that?
Hey, bigger.
Because the SEC
bigger
might
crowds
break
against
off from the NCAA.
Yeah, at some point these conferences, Tom, are going to make one big one, and this is what the Power 5 guys were kind of shooting at when this first started. Was if the NCAA is going to say you guys decide and not push on them, these Power 5 guys can say we're going to pay our guys. And we don't have to be sanctioned by the NCAA. And that's where I was kind of leaning or saying to these high school coaches in North Carolina, you don't have to be a member of the Athletic Association. You can be a member of the Kevin Hastings Athletic Association. Pay me half. I'll divvy it up. Terry said he just needs $500,000 a year. We'll divvy it up between. They divvy up $3 million between 19 people. I bet we could do $2 million within. We'll go 5 of us.
That'd be fine. I could live off it.
But to make schedules and be like, hey guys, yeah, y'all play Tuesday, but yeah, what exactly does the NCAA do? What exactly does the Athletic Association do other than, have coaches meetings and set rules? I'm not 100% sure. And so,
well, the NCAA,
you're right,
if I'm not mistaken, I'm just saying the NCAA, if I'm not mistaken, they don't have a president. There is no head honcho over the NCAA because that's what a lot of people.
I think CEO is what the head guy.
Yeah, it's
Emmerich
called. And I think it's also kind of like a group. It's almost like a cabinet that they kind of run it from. There is no singular head of leadership like there is in the NFL and the MLB and the NBA where they have the commissioner and he's the one that's over everything. And then of course you have the presidents of the conferences. The presidents of the SEC and the ACC and the Pac-12 and the Big 10, Big 12, and let's not forget there's presidents of all the smaller conferences. But there's no singular head of leadership that just says, okay, this is what we're doing, and everybody has to abide by it. So that's where, to me, if I was the Power 5 conferences, hell, you could literally do what the XFL tried to do.
Yeah,
you could have your
absolutely.
own league.
Right.
You could have your own league. Now, you would have more than obviously just 30-plus schools, but that's not something that you couldn't work around.
It's 50-some schools. We're probably right at 60.
Yeah, it's close, and this is what is crazy too for the NCAA. This has now become a black eye on the NCAA because a lot of people have already been raising a bunch of eyebrows and questions at their antics, and how they would suspend kids for almost the smallest thing, and what was against NCAA violations. Well, now you have players at all your major conferences, the ones that bring you in the most money, demanding that they have essentially representation and that they have a voice. And that's what I meant starting at the beginning when I said you're seeing the rise of a players union right now. And I tell you what, those players outnumber everybody at the NCAA by far. And think about it. We're just talking about the Power 5 conferences. What happens when the Mountain West joins? What happens when the MAC joins? The American joins?
They won't let them. That's what's going to happen. They're going to start their own 5, and then that'll be the national champion. I mean, you got 64 teams in the basketball tournament anyway.
Well, they probably will let them join when it comes down to that they just won't represent.
They won't even let them participate in the playoffs. They're going to let them join.
No. Here's the thing. They're not.
Ain't no way.
No. I'm not saying that they're joining up to make something different than the NCAA. I'm just talking about they're bucking back at the NCAA saying this needs to change and this needs to happen. So for them to have their largest voice, they need every school that's affiliated with the NCAA behind them, or at least student athletes. That's what I think is going to happen. Because you got to remember, a lot of these kids, they know each other. Like, they all went to 7-on-7s together, and some of them went to play at Power 5 schools, and some of them ended up playing at smaller schools. So they'll all get together. They'll join up and be buddy-buddy, and it will literally be I could see this, if not this year, next year, a huge strike from players. That's just what's going to happen.
So I'm looking,
and they'll lose another couple $2 billion.
I'm looking at Mark Emmert. He is classified as the CEO, president of the NCAA. So it's it's a money making organization here. They're a non-profit organization.
Yeah.
But he gets this non-profit. Tom, he makes $3.9 million.
Yeah.
How is that even allowed to be called a non-profit when the $3.9 million?
It's pretty disgusting, isn't it?
Shit. They've got. So here you go. NCAA is and this is, you can read it as the Athletic Association of North Carolina if you want. The NCAA is a voluntary membership association with over 1,100 universities, 19,000 teams, including 460,000 students. The association rules and policies governing college sports are established by all the colleges and universities through a representative form of decision making. So there's your Mark Emmert. So for example of how much, I'm just skipping down a paragraph. Here's some money. They're talking about the 2014, the NCAA entered a partnership with the Department of Defense about concussion and head trauma. Initially a $15 million contribution. Well, if you think about that, The Rock just bought the XFL for $15 million. So what they just got in the first year of the funding, they've got a total now of $64 million in this pool for funding concussion protocol. You could buy 4 XFLs, so we're getting into the point where just the donation from the Department of Defense could fund the Power 5 football championship. So when they say there's no money and we don't have any money, they're getting money from the Department of Defense. They could buy the XFL 4 times over, which would basically be 4 Power 5 conferences. And there's just so much money in this that they're fighting. I wonder why he gets $3.5 million, Tom, when you're getting 15 a year from the Department of Defense. Just scrolling down through there, talk about the FBI investigations, Michigan State, and the thing with Carolina lawyers basically put a thumb their noses up at them because they said you can't tell us, you're the athletic department, governing body over athletics, you can't tell us what we teach in our classroom. What was North Carolina's basically lawyered argument against them. And then like Hunter's talking about, some schools get penalized and others don't, and what for. So, and then when you penalize the school, Tom, if you say your school can't make the playoffs, who's not making the playoffs? The kids. Yeah. That were it's hard to punish the coaches, then the coach can leave and go get another $3.9 million job at another school. So I don't know. They've got a lot of Hunter. You're right. I've been calling for it for years. Maybe they can. Whatever happens, to me, as long as they do something and break up exactly what's going on now, I think we can get down a couple paths. I'm not sure they all the colleges are together under one roof like they are now, called the NCAA, but I'm not sure that's what's even best for them. I mean, should Gardner-Webb be worried about Alabama players and, things like that? All right. So, do Hunter,
Yes.
baseball or basketball or golf
We can do baseball.
or NASCAR?
Golf, a guy drives a par 4, makes an eagle, and guy's only 23 years old. Or what, is that how old he was?
You talk about the kid that won it?
Yeah,
Or
the one
guy
that won the
it?
PGA.
Yeah, I think he was 23. We'll go over
He
that.
broke
Right
the
quick.
trophy.
Did he?
Did you see him? Not.
No.
He held it up really fast, and the top fell off of it.
No, I
Oh,
did
Lord.
not.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
see that.
But what I have been seeing about the kid is that he has been. I think I even mentioned him like 2 weeks ago or something on one of the shows. How like every event he's played in, he's top 10'd it. Morikawa. Time you talk about, he drove the green and got the eagle putt. So Saturday, he was playing. I told you he was playing a golf tournament. Second hole. Now, this is how organized we are. The guy that set it up, a friend that set it up, he just found it on Facebook. He didn't even know the calls. We didn't know a single person. We didn't know anybody, anything there other than sign up and pay to play. So we didn't even know the course. We don't know nothing. I've never seen this course. I've only played actually at these my friends. I've only played with them like once or twice. So we're just blind going up here and playing this course. It's a nice little course up in Thomasville. But the second hole, without knowing where it was, I drove it on the green. We had a 10-foot putt for eagle, and we couldn't make it. We used it took us 6 putts, and we still didn't make it. And we were just like, I was like, guys, we got an eagle at par 4 we drive, and we did not. We did not. I wasn't even trying to drive the green. I couldn't even see the green. We just hit it over the hill and got down there, and my ball's 10 feet from the dang hole. So we'll take it. We ended up, I think, 5th out of 20 teams. Didn't know anybody, but had fun with that.
You win any money?
I came within 2.5 feet of a $10,000 hole-in-one.
Oh.
And guess what? There was no closest to the pin on that hole. You just had to hit it in or nothing.
So what you're telling me is you got
Nothing.
$0.
I got nothing.
$0. Okay.
That's what I'm
Wanna
telling you.
confirm it.
I got
$0.
nothing. But Morikawa wins. Tiger did not. Of course, I didn't think that would ever happen again.
Pretty sure Tiger's won his last major.
Unless it's at Augusta.
Yeah, he might. He might have a chance there, but
They can pay the players to hit balls in the creek there on the fourth round. I've seen it. That's crazy how that just happened. Just everybody hitting it in the water. I was trying to find some news and notes on him. There's the top, Hunter. I see him when the top comes off. There's a jug and the top came off the jug. I don't think he broke it, but yeah, you're right on.
He broke it.
Yeah, he broke it.
said he was 3 months old when Tiger Woods won his first major.
Does that make you feel old?
That does.
Does it really?
Because because 2000 is the year I remember really Tiger just kind of lapping the field, just winning tournament after tournament. But I forgot, late 90s, he was, he had already won a few majors by the time the 90s were over. So it does make me feel old that now Tiger Woods is old. It's like that's just.
Dustin Johnson came in second at minus 11. There was some controversy. Koepka and Dustin Johnson. Hunter, did you see that? Exact words on that?
Yeah, apparently Rory McIlroy had an issue with it as well. Brooks Koepka had made a comment. It was after the third round, and which he just noted it was that Dustin Johnson only had a single major to his name, and that was just based because Brooks was looking at his own chances of winning a third straight Wanamaker Trophy. So it was kind of a small jab at him saying, "Well, he's only got one, I've got two, and this could have been my third straight, essentially." It's just Brooks, man. He's confident, and if this would have been his third straight, he has every reason to be confident. He's consistent. He just said
I was glancing at the
Dustin
leaderboard,
Johnson,
and the 10 guys that are up there. There's been 3 majors. DJ has been in this spot a couple of times, and he hasn't been able to capitalize. He's just talking. I don't know if he's taking shots.
Yeah,
sounds kind of middle school-esque to me. I mean, it's not like he really, what he basically say. I got more majors than you. I mean,
something like that. And then Johnson has 21 victories, and Koepka's only got 7, but all of Koepka's are majors basically. So that's what I think. That's where Rory was coming back at him as far as I wouldn't say anything about anybody with 21 victories. So there you go. So you're just some golf drama for the weekend, Hunter.
Golf drama, my word.
What's the guy, the beefed up guy that can hit it like 400? DeChambeau, is that his name?
Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah, I saw him chili dip a chip on one of those holes, and I was like, man, it looks like me. But he was up at the leaderboard a lot of this tournament and just came up a little short.
He finished 3 short.
Yeah. I thought he had a decent chance, but I'm telling you, that rough at that course, if you got it in that rough, man, it's like you better have a weed whacker.
Paul Casey and Dustin Johnson came in second and 11. Matt Wolff, Justin Day, Finau, DeChambeau, and Scheffler at 10. Justin Rose 8, and then on down the line for everybody else. Let's see who come in dead last that made the cut. That would be Sung Kang, Jim Herman, Matt Wallace, Phil Mickelson, and Bubba's down there at +4. They were messing around at the bottom of the cut.
Well, Phil was over par.
He was 4 over. Tiger Woods was -1. Rory -2. So I mean, think about it, Tom. Let's say Harold Varner, Gaston is Harold Varner. You go to the PGA Championship, you shoot 72, 66, 69, 70th, and come 29th place. So what's frustrating about golf is maybe those are the best rounds he ever had. Comes in 29th. You just don't know. And 29th place paid for a weekend, Tom. Would you like $69,000 for the weekend?
I'll take it if it's available
for 4 days. That's why you got to try to teach my son how to putt better. Let's see. The top 20 started paying at $134,000. Top 10 got $250,000, and the top 4 got $400,000. Second place split $1.8 million with third place because they tied. So Morikawa wins $1.9 million. Casey and Johnson come in second. Think about this: if you win the All-Star race in NASCAR, you get $1 million. You win a golf tournament, 1.9. Come in second or third place in a golf tournament, you get $960,000. So they'll wreck each other and wreck a $1 million car for $1 million. But the golfers get that and coming in second place on a nice Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Maybe they should update, Tom, the $1 million purse. What do you think? Because it's been that way since the start. So with inflation and if the car costs you $800,000 to wreck it, shouldn't you win more than what you can wreck it for?
You would think. Yeah.
They got to up that to $5 million or something.
Yeah,
surely they can do something. Well, this weekend Harvick swept in Michigan. That was no fun. Second race, Johnson got started in third on the choose rule. By the time they took the first commercial break, he was in 7th. So I knew it wasn't going to be a good day, so I found the pool, and we listened to it instead of watching it, and I watched the last few laps there to end it. Good racing though for a little bit. I like Michigan. Just Harvick and Childers have something together. He ties Rusty Wallace in all-time wins in only 2 more races than Rusty. So pretty much the exact same career, Tom, for you older fellas, people that were not you're not old. I mean, people that remember some of the Dale Earnhardt folks. That's if you want to compare who Harvick was, he's had the same career basically as Rusty Wallace throughout this. Bubba has an offer for the number 42 car. You asked about that Saturday.
Right. Yeah.
He already had some ownership in the team, Hunter. That's just basically an extension of what he already has with the with Petty Racing. I'll read through this real quick for everybody. Richard Petty Racing confirms that Bubba's got an offer from the 42. The report came from Marty Schneider. The 42 is currently driven by Matt Kenseth, of course. The 26-year-old driver confirmed he has had ownership stakes in Richard Petty Motorsports. He's in his third year at Richard Petty, and so Bubba will have that choice, it looks like. And don't know where Eric Jones is going to end up. He's a talented driver, but it's just one of those sponsorship things and moving on, and that's just a weird situation in general as well, Hunter. But what I want to ask you about, I know you're not that big in racing. What do you think? They're going to in Daytona, they're going to have the road course there, okay? And they're not going to have any qualifying, and they're not going to have any practice.
That's going to be a shit show.
With no bumpers on the cars, and no, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't like bumper. This isn't like you go down to the park and pay your $10 to run some bumper cars. Like, there's no
right.
If they hit each other, they tear shit up. So, what do you think about that? As far as them headed to the road course with no practice, no nothing.
Just what I said. I think it's gonna be a shit show.
They got no brake lights.
Nothing. No brake lights. Nothing. I'm telling you, man. This is. I couldn't tell you who would win. I would pick somebody random at this point.
Yeah.
I just pick someone random because that's probably what you're gonna get. It's gonna be so random. It's gonna be so crazy. You're not gonna know what's gonna happen. No one's gonna really, because isn't this first year road course gonna be at Daytona?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing as Charlotte. It's a Roval, but they're not calling it the Roval because I think Charlotte trademarked it. So,
okay, well,
so
that makes sense.
I'm looking at the track diagram. I'll try to see if I can pull it up. It looks exactly almost like Charlotte almost.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just don't see how you can not give them any practice or anything for this. This is just insane to me. I guess, are they going to be doing the simulators? Does that even own the simulators?
I don't know. I was about to say, so essentially you said it looks just like the Roval, just they can't call it that.
Right.
But the Roval's only been around, 2 years?
Right.
So, and you usually only race that once, so they maybe have only been on the Roval twice, and you're going to make them go out there and race with no practice?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we might be seeing Jimmy Johnson get wrecked again. And he's just going to...
Hunter, I'm pulling it up on the stream. I know you can't see it on your Skype screen, but I'm pulling it up for the folks at home on the stream so they can see kind of what it's going to look like. So there you go for the folks at home. It's to me, I mean, it's the exact same thing as the Roval. This map, what it's not showing, if you look on the far left where it says 12 NASCAR, the map I was just on, and this is not an updated one, there's another chicane there after where it says NASCAR 4, just like in Charlotte. So there is a chicane before the start-finish line to slow the guys down. But if you look, there's a chicane right almost the exact same spot in the back stretch as Charlotte, and there'll be one on the front stretch and the same thing. And it goes in turn one and back out in turn one on the road course. So, Hunter, this is exactly, I mean, almost exactly like the Charlotte Roval road course. And to me, it's going to be, it's whoever's most aggressive. But here's what's different about this than Charlotte that I want to know. This one, at Charlotte, there's no restrictor plate. So I'm guessing they're not going to be having a restrictor plate on this race. So how will the drafting work? What will the speeds be? I've got so many questions on that. Like they're not even practicing the draft on that, Hunter. Like, they might get up to 210 and somebody going to try to break there on that back chicane and just roll straight through it.
I'll tell you what. This is what I'm thinking is going to happen. I think you're going to get maybe a slow first 2, 3, 4, 5 laps, and then all of a sudden when somebody actually starts to kind of get the feel for it and says, yeah, I'm going to try this out, see if I can let loose a little bit more, and he's the only one that tries to do that, that's when you start getting the wrecks. I see the wrecks coming at least lap 20. It's going to be very early because seriously, somebody's going to be like, all right, I didn't get much practice on this. All of us are kind of taking it really slow right now, trying to get the feel for it. I think I've got it down. Let me see if I can speed up a little bit more.
All right,
and he's just going to mess up somewhere.
Let me show you the courses. So Charlotte's 2 mile or mile and a half. This is Charlotte's big thing is a mile and a half. So there's Charlotte, the one that says the Bank of America 500 for you folks watching at home. And you see the road courses, it goes inside the track a little bit bigger, but you see a chicane on the back, a chicane on the front, road course in turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
Daytona, chicane on the back, chicane on the front, road course in turn 1. Road course is just shaped a little bit different is really the biggest thing. It's almost the exact same thing. But again, yeah, that's probably my biggest question, Hunter, and I'll see Tom's thoughts on this as he joins back. So they're going to this Daytona road course. No practice. No qualifying. They don't have brake lights. And I think, if I'm correct, there will not be restrictor plates on this cars. So in Charlotte, you don't have restrictor plates. So you just get out and go.
Right.
They only get up to like 180, I think 190, close to it. But at Daytona, they're used to restrictor plate racing in Daytona.
Right.
Where you're door to door, nose to nose. With this is the road course is going to split them up that way. So I'm without practice, Tom. These guys are going to have to figure out drafting, turning, braking, all of this blindly.
Why would you? Why? But it just doesn't seem like you would need the restrictor plate.
Right.
There.
I don't think they will. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they will. So now they're racing on a track they haven't had a restrictor plate on in forever. And so now are they going to get to speeds where
Are they going to get up to 205 miles an hour?
I don't know. I don't think they will. I think they've put the chicanes in the right spot to slow that.
Yeah.
But still, when you get on that back stretch, if you'll look at it, that's the Bank of America. Let me go over to Daytona. It's the same setup, though. So you come out of that corner, you get up to 160 out of the corner and shoot up. You're going to get up to 190 before that chicane.
Yeah.
Who's going to – I mean, somebody's going to destroy some tires braking, destroy some brakes braking. Somebody's going straight through that chicane, and they'll have to do a penalty. Because if you miss the corner, you got to. I would imagine you have to park.
That doesn't look like the same pattern, though.
What do you mean?
Like what that and that are different.
Yeah, slightly different. One's Charlotte, one's Daytona.
Oh, okay.
That's
That's
Charlotte.
Oh, okay.
Bank of
That's
America,
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Okay, that's
And
Charlotte.
then
That's
Daytona.
Daytona. Okay.
So the only thing the Daytona map don't have right now, they just added it the other day. I was just looking at a different one. Tom, right there where it says 12 NASCAR 4, right past that, there's another chicane there that they've added that they haven't put on that map. I just saw a different map with it on it. I don't know where it went. Here it is. But I can't make that one bigger. See how they put that little chicane there on the front?
Yeah.
So it's right in there, folks.
It'll be interesting.
I'm just, like Hunter said, he said, who do you pick? You can't pick anybody because you don't know.
You go with your best driving talent. You have to go with Jimmy Johnson.
Kyle Busch might win.
Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson.
The guys that are just racing on feel at first. It depends on who's in front of them. That's another thing, Tom. If you got an idiot behind you or in front of you, who's going to hit you from behind or stop short in front of you? I just,
well, it's definitely going to draw some attention. I mean, people will be interested. It's different. First year they're doing it right.
Yeah, I just don't see how they don't have them practice at least something.
Why aren't they letting them practice? Is it because of the corona?
Yes.
Okay.
So the excuse is you have to bring in 2 cars if you do practice or qualifying, because if you wreck that car, then you got to go to the backup. If you got to go to the backup car, you've got to have extra crew there, and this and that, blah blah. They want less people there. So the rule is less people. So no backup cars, no qualifying. That's where they're going with that. But of course, you've never been to. Like, I don't see how it's fair to send the guys off into turn 1 of a road course without ever braking before. And you got 40 people that are doing the exact same thing, just shooting on into the corner.
Yeah, it may be nasty.
I was trying to see if they were going to have the restrictor plate in Daytona, but I'm not seeing any notes or ideas on that. Maybe I can ask somebody that knows more than I do. So anyway, the distance Cup Series will be 230 miles, 65 laps on that. They usually go, I think, 100 laps or 200 laps for Daytona 500, so significantly less laps. All right, Hunter.
Yeah.
Over to baseball.
Baseball. I'll tell you what, Atlanta has been hitting. They have been hitting. And one person in particular that I'm happy that started hitting, Acuna, is not quite striking out as much right now.
You're good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
good.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know if you guys could hear me. I was looking at you, and you guys kind of had this blank look on your face. I'm like, oh god.
I'm reading my interweb, trying to get my baseball stuff up.
I was like, oh god. I thought you guys had lost me.
Hunter, if we had the Cleveland Indians pitching with the Braves hitting, we'd definitely have the World Series champion, wouldn't we?
I agree with that. In full. I agree with that in full.
Yeah.
The Braves played a doubleheader too. That was the first doubleheader that they've had this season, because they had to make up a postponement game against the Phillies, and they won both of those games 5-2, and then the second game they won 8-0. And in those games, Acuna had 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. I mean, he was going off, and that's something that excited me. We lost to our first game that we got to play. That wasn't the rainout game, obviously, to the Phillies on Saturday, 5-0, and we play them again today at 6:00. Kevin, is that going to be on any of our channels? Is it going to be on our station?
It'll be on CSA. He just stepped out, but always
he did.
we got Atlanta. If the Atlanta Braves are on, we're covering it. So we'll get Kevin to make sure that we know the times when the pregame and all that starts. But if the Braves are playing, we've got it covered. So. On WCSL. So tune in if you're driving down the road, listen to a ball game. That's one of my favorite things to do in the summertime, Hunters, is listen to a ball game, listen to the Braves, listen to the Indians on their stations sometimes. So it's a lot of fun in the summertime, and things are happening quickly with only a 60-game season. Each one of these games is, like I just said, each game's like 3 games, Hunter. Like each game's like 3 games. So like when the Indians lost 4 in a row, that could be devastating now, you know. In a 162-game season, it's a hiccup, but it's not the end of the world. But, you know, you start losing 3 or 4 in a row in a 60-game season, that can cause you big-time problems.
It can cause big-time problems, and it was big for the Braves to get these wins because, I mean, they finally updated it to where the National League standings, the Braves are sitting on top of the Marlins. Even though they don't have a better win percentage, I think that's just how it should have been from the beginning because we've played more games. Like, it's fair that way. We've played the correct amount of games that most teams should have played up till now. We're 11-6, and I think that's a good sign. If I'm not mistaken, I think we might have played the most games out of everybody in Major League Baseball right now because we haven't had a hiccup. We even just played that doubleheader to make up that postponement.
Yeah, Cleveland had 1 rain out. I think they were 1 out away from getting another win. It got postponed, and now they don't play again until tomorrow. So
you guys have played the same amount of games as we have.
16.
You guys have played 17. You're 10-7.
10-7, 17 games. Okay.
And we're 11-6. So we've both played 17 games. I was just happy that the Braves were able, so far, I know they play the 4th game of the series tonight against the Phillies, but right now we're up on them 2-1, 2 games to 1. If we win this one, that will be A-okay with me because I know how hard it's for us still with our pitching staff, not having Soroka. That's going to be tough, but it looks like we've been able to continue just winning with our bats. Our run differential is plus 27. I mean, we can score, man, and I'm all for it. And we have to finish the deal off with at least 3-1 over the Phillies because we're about to go on a 2-game road schedule against arguably probably the hottest team in baseball outside of maybe us and the Dodgers. We're playing the Yankees. So we go on a 2-game road stint against the Yankees, and I would much rather us be riding momentum into Yankee Stadium than us coming off of a loss and maybe splitting the series with the Phillies, who are almost they're second to last in our own division. So to me, if we can close out tonight against the Phillies, then we got a lot of momentum riding into Yankee Stadium tomorrow.
Yeah, you got to win every series, Hunter. I like what you said there. Win every series, right? I mean, if
you
it's
have to win, 60 games,
series.
you got to win every series.
You got to win every series if you want to get anywhere. So it's good news for the Braves fans. We had want to make sure that we had Braves coverage today, Kevin, on CSL.
Always should be.
Yeah, that's what I said. Do you know what time it starts?
I was pulling up the schedule. 6:05 is game time, so coverage will probably start about 5.
Okay.
For us, I think they come on about an hour early. They've got the Phillies 4-6.
And also, if you're away from your radio, you can listen to it on ktcbroadcasting.com.
Right.
So.
If the race is on WCSL, when we have races on, you can also listen to Braves on the other two as well, WLON and WHS.
Okay.
So we do have Braves. We got the Braves covered. You can find the Braves on KTC. Looking at the standings, Hunter. I like looking at the worst team in baseball. That is not the Angels yet.
It's not the Royals.
It's the Pittsburgh Pirates.
It's not the Royals.
Not the Royals.
It's the Pirates. But next to the Pirates, the worst team in the American League, ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Angels. 5-11. Mariners 6-11. Kansas City 7-10. Terry said he don't count his Royals out, Tom, until they got 30 losses. So at some point, you got to actually, be realistic about this. Pirates are 3-13. They're 110-game winning streak from being 500.
but realistically, do we think it's gonna happen? No.
We'll put it this
Kevin,
way.
are y'all ever gonna play a game?
Yeah, what for? We'll just let y'all.
I mean, I'm just saying, is St. Louis ever gonna play a game? You're still sitting there 2-3.
I don't know what they're doing. What's sad? We've only played 5 games. We almost have as many wins as the Angels.
True.
We win 3 straight coming out of this thing, Hunter. We got more wins than the Angels, and they're 5. They played 16 games, 5-11. How about the Nationals and Phillies only have 4 wins? Pittsburgh, Hunter, has played 16 games and only have one more win than we do.
I don't understand how teams can just be that bad, though, because it's crazy. It's like Pittsburgh has taken the bad mojo away from Baltimore. And Baltimore's sitting there 7-7 right now in second place in the AL East. 500. This time last year, they would have been 1-8 if you wanted to keep it like that.
Well, what's going on with the Indians, Tom?
They've been
No,
worse.
What do you mean? They're not bad. 10-7.
They were 7-7 the other day.
They've won 3 straight, and they've won their series with Chicago, which is good. And everybody in their division is about a half game away from each other. At the time, of course, not the Royals. I know Terry's not listening, but the Royals are pretty much. And he tries to come in there on Saturday and act like they have a chance, and he sends me text message. I don't know if you guys get him, but he sends me text messages when they win. So I don't get that often, but I think that they got to start hitting. Now they scored 7 against the White Sox the other day, which they had one big inning against the Reds.
Yeah.
But like Hunter's talking about the Braves starting to hit. I mean, you got to hit eventually, Kevin. And your theory is the bats will heat up eventually. So if Cleveland
You're second best run differential in the American League right now.
That's because nobody scores on them. I mean, they have won,
true.
Hunter. I can't remember. They've won 3 or 4 games where they scored 2 runs. I mean, it's like almost unheard of.
They're 13th in scoring runs.
Yeah. I mean, they're
in
just,
the American League.
they're just terrible. They pitch. They pitch like Tarzan and hit like Jane. How about that? I mean, that's kind of where they are right now.
That's understandable. All I was going to ask was, are we going to start taking the Oakland A's a little bit serious? We sat here last week, Tom, and we said, the Minnesota Twins look like they could definitely be the team coming out to possibly contend with the Yankees for the ALCS and possibly go to the World Series. I'm looking at the A's right now. They're 12-4 with a plus 23 run differential.
9-1 in their last 10 games. Well, who have they played?
That's a good question. I think they played the Angels a few times.
They played Kevin's Angels.
I know they have.
Yeah, they've played the Astros, who've been struggling. They played the Rangers, who's been struggling. They played the Mariners, who's been struggling. So they've gotten some.
Well, they're beating the teams they're supposed to beat.
That's right. I was just about to say.
Right now, Astros are not in the playoffs.
No,
they're not, and they just got into a brawl with the A's. The Astros, I'm telling you, this is a.
That was over a beanball incident, wasn't it, Hunter? Somebody got beaned.
Do what?
Somebody got hit and the bench is cleared.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
I think that's what it was.
I don't exactly know. I don't exactly know what started it, but I do know that there was a brawl because I saw a video of it. And I was like, yeah, this is the first of many that the Houston Astros are getting ready to be a part of all year. They're getting ready to just throw
Well, the
hands.
guy
If they're
that
not
was-
getting beamed with a ball, they're getting beamed with a fist.
The guy that was jawing for the Astros didn't even get in the fight. 3 other guys like grabbed the other guy for him. So
Yeah.
I don't even know what that was about.
Oh, one of the
After hugging each other.
Astros players was, I believe, hit twice and charged the Houston dugout. one of the A's players charged the Houston dugout after he was hit
Yeah,
twice.
it was the A's player that got
yeah,
hit. Tom, not even
that's
Astros.
right. That's right. Okay.
I was about to say, if it was an Astros player that got hit twice and charged the dugout, I would look at him and say, what did you expect was going to happen this season? People were just going to be like, here, swing. No. They don't forget. These players are holding so much resentment to the Astros right now, especially the Yankees, because they feel like they were robbed out of trying to make a World Series last year and the year prior. The Astros, I'm serious. This does not look good for you to be under 500. You know, I thought your roster was very talented, but was it just because you were cheating? Is that it?
At
I mean,
home, they definitely were.
Have you seen Jose Altuve? Like, what he's batting this year? Awful.
Well,
Is it only because they're not in his ear telling him when the fastball's coming?
Yeah. Well, the one guy for the A's did he got hit twice in the game and 3 times in the series, so he got tired. He got tired of it. Yeah.
Well, if the playoffs started today, there would be one team from the American League West, and it's the Oakland A's who had that down. 4 teams in the Central, everybody but Terry's Royals would be in the playoffs.
Altuve is batting 82. Holy crap.
3 teams in the American League East. Royals only a game and a half out of a playoff spot, Tom.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, they're only a game and a half out.
That's very correct.
How can that be?
correct?
That can't be correct.
They're a game and a
No.
half out of a playoff spot.
I don't think that's correct, man.
Tampa and the White Sox are 8-8. Kansas City is 7-10.
All right. So right now we have the Yankees are in, the Orioles would be in, the Twins and Tigers would be in,
Everybody 500 or above is in. That's 8 teams.
but the Rangers would be in because they're second place in their division.
That don't mean anything. Top
No.
8. Top 8.
No. The way I understood it, it was the top and then the second place in every division.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Okay,
Is
man,
that
I have to
you
look
may
it
be
back
right.
up.
I've never heard of
Okay.
such a thing.
So let me see if I can find it.
Someone has been lied to.
Well, if that's
We must
right,
get
if
to the
that's the
bottom of
case, you're
this.
definitely getting teams that are below 500 in the playoffs.
Yeah, let me see. 2020 rules. I could have swore I read that it's the first and play. Okay, all first and second place teams in the 6 divisions will qualify for the playoffs.
That's not good.
So that's what I'm saying,
It's
Kevin.
even getting worse than what it was.
Yeah. So you're talking to go back to
That's
the
a
standings.
terrible idea.
No, but that's what it says right there. The final 2 spots in each league will go to the remaining teams with the best win-loss records.
Oh, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah. So when I read that
But
the
you
other
would
day,
have.
no,
Yeah,
but
you
but
would
I had to explain this to Terrible Terry the other day because
Oh,
he
no.
wanted to argue with me, and I'm saying no, Terry, Cleveland's in. Cleveland's not in. I'm like, yeah, they are. They're not second place in their division. I said, but there's 8, Terry. So right now, Kevin, in the American League, the Yankees at 10-6, the Orioles at 7-7. They're in. Well, the Rays should be. They're 8-8. I don't understand how you got the 7-7 in front of the 8-8. All right, the Twins and Tigers would be in. The Athletics and the Rangers at 6-8 would be in, with the Astros a half game back. Then who are your next 2 best teams? Well, the Indians at 10-7,
And Tampa
and then
Bay.
you'd have the Rays at 8-8.
Yeah.
So yes, Kevin, even or
So
the
it's-
White Sox are 8-8. Yeah, so the Royals.
So a team can get
Yeah.
under 500, and a team over 500 cannot get in.
yeah,
What idiots!
but I tried to explain.
Congratulations, baseball.
I tried to explain that to Terry the other day. and
Well, I
it
wouldn't have
was-
believed you without finding it and reading it. I still ain't found it myself. But either way, that's an awful idea.
Do I need to share this with you,
No,
Kevin?
you don't. That's just an awful
Let me
idea.
share it with
that's-
you to
If
show
that's
you
the
what I'm-
case, then the Dodgers don't even get one of the top 3 seeds if it ended today. No.
If
The
you look at
Dodgers
the
are sitting
if
second
you look
with
at the
11-5.
National League, that'd be Braves and Marlins, Cubs, Brewers at 6 and 7, Kevin, and then Rockies and Dodgers. Dodgers would not. They're a half game out. And then who are your next two best records? Well, you'd have the Padres at 9-7, and then you'd have some the Mets at 7-9, or the Reds at 7-9. Kevin, getting in the National League. How do you like them apples?
It's terrible.
Why wouldn't you just take the division winners and then the next best record?
What does it matter if you're in second place? I don't.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Hey,
What's their
second place is the first loser, right?
What is the argument for guaranteeing?
I have no idea.
Second place.
But that's the football.
Spot.
But that's sort of kind of the football style where the division winner outranks the wild card team, even if the wild card team has a better record, Kevin. Because you got this.
Yeah.
You'll have that 1 week division with an 8-8 division winner. And then somebody who was 10-6 has got to travel to their place because they're a division winner.
All 6 second place teams will qualify.
Yeah, I
for
told you.
Format.
Look at that.
The 7th and 8th place teams will be chosen. Jesus Christ.
Hunter, I was just fact checked.
Y'all were just awful. That's just awful.
No,
Like,
but yeah, it is a little hard to believe, and that's why when Terry was arguing with me
there's
via
not a
text,
single mathematician in the Major League Baseball offices that can say, "Hey guys, this is stupid." It's just
Well, at
stupid.
the end of the day, who gets the 1 seed out of the National League?
who's ahead of the
Is the
Dodgers?
Cubs?
No, the Cubs are
Is it
10-3.
just going to be off win percentage? Because they haven't played nearly
Cubs got-
enough games.
Cubs, everybody's gonna get the games in somehow, some way.
Well, I'm just saying, if it ended today, who would it be?
The
Atlanta or would
Rockies.
it be
The
Colorado?
Rockies are
Atlanta's played 2 more
11-4.
games.
It'd be Cubs.
The Rockies are 11-4. Well,
That's what-
the Cubs have a better
And-
winning percentage.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So it would go Cubs 1, Rockies 2, Atlanta 3. But they still get to all pick who they play, right? Or do they get the first round bye?
They get to pick who they play. Nobody gets a bye in baseball.
Not now?
No,
There's no buys in
that's good.
baseball.
not now. Not now, Hunter.
Not now.
It's just they're allowing the Brewers to be in under 500 instead of the Padres 2 games over 500. Just dumb as shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean,
It's not completely stupid, but it could be better.
oh, it
Kevin.
is. It is. Cause
It's flawed.
What if you
listen, you knew 8 pushing it was going to be pushing 500 now. Now the fact of the matter is, what if in the American League there's 9 500 teams? And so now you got, and then the whoever comes in second is under 500. And you're going to kick 3 teams out over 500 over a second place team that's not. And then what if the National League only has 6 teams that are over 500?
What if they
and
were?
they've got 2 in that's not.
What if they were in a tougher division, Kevin? What if they were in a tougher division?
Well, if you got nothing but losing record, that means you've had your ass whipped by everybody else but who's in your division, because they've got the winning records and you don't, so they've whipped y'all.
Yeah, but if you had played a tougher division, you've got. If you're second place in your division with a losing, yeah, that is right. That means everybody else is.
Everybody else kicked
That's
my
right.
ass.
That's right. Let me go. Yeah. Let me go back on that.
That
that's
fourth
true.
place team's got wins
Yeah.
for nothing. They
Yeah.
got wins for something. I mean,
That is true. That is true.
I don't know. That's just weird. All right, Hunter. Jeez, y'all just threw a curveball to me on that one. I thought it was. I thought they were pushing it at 8 teams anyway. I was like, yeah, they should probably do 7 and just give the 1 seed a bye and go from there. I like that idea, but now with that, only 2 players, y'all, are over 400 right now.
That's not surprising though.
I think it's way surprising at this point. I thought we would get. Honestly, I thought we'd have 2 guys hit over 400 on the season.
I think the timing hurt the hitters more than the
Oh, yeah.
pitchers. I mean, I really do. I just think that the time off and hurt the hitters more than the pitchers.
Well, most of
The
them haven't
pitchers
hit a live
haven't
baseball since what, last September?
It's been a long, it's been a long time.
I mean, most of it, because playoffs start in October, so it's been quite a while since some of these guys have seen it. Charlie Blackmon in Colorado is batting .458, and Solano .455, and then nobody else. How about, it's so bad, the 4th place guy is batting .360. Like, he's 40 points away, and he's in 4th. LeMahieu is .397.
Now, wait a minute, Kevin. The way you were explaining it, there would only be 9 percentage points.
That's right. Not 9 points
The way you
to make
Kevin's math.
to do the to do it like everybody else in the world and every other percentage.
Yeah.
Baseball's the only one that goes 3 spots.
Yeah.
So Blackman's batting. How about this, Tom? You want me to blow Hunter? I'll blow your head on this one. Have you seen the new argument about 2 + 2 = 5?
I have not.
You seen this, Hunter?
No. I used to say that as a joke whenever I would tell people I don't know how to do math.
I don't want to tell you the reasons they're arguing about why it's not 4, but I'll give you a reason that their reasoning why it is 5. If you round numbers, okay?
Oh no, I wanted to say round, but I didn't think it would come to this.
They'll say if you're rounding numbers and you say 2.4 plus 2.4, you would round them down and say that's 4. But if you add them together and then round them, it equals 5.
Well, 2.4 and 2 is not the same number. So, I mean, that's kind of dumb.
I'm just telling you what
Yeah.
they say.
Who's they?
You don't want to know who they is, Tom. The same people that are destroying our country. They say these things. That's all you need to know.
What does that even mean?
It's they.
I was about to say,
they.
Tom made the best point ever. He said it's not 2 if it's 2.4.
It's not 2.
But you round it.
2.4.
Yeah, but you round it.
No,
Listen,
you
I don't
don't.
make the rules. I'm just telling you what
You
the
don't
argument
round.
is.
You don't round anything. What do you mean round it? That's the stupidest thing.
You
I've
only
ever heard.
round it. You only round it if you're told to.
You know when
round
you
it.
round things when the teacher tells you to round.
The argument is, Tom, if you put them in
That's what
certain
I'm
percent,
saying.
the parentheses and the boundaries and all that. I'm just telling you guys
My God,
these
guys, math
circles
is
they'll
hard,
jump through
you know?
nowadays.
The number 2 plus the number 2 is 4. And if you got 2 points something else, then now we have a different number. So. I mean, it's just dumb. It's dumb.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm just letting you know that's where we're at.
Whatever.
Same people that want to get rid of the North Carolina Tar Heels is the same people coming up with that math, Hunter.
Oh, speaking of North Carolina Tar Heels, that's what they're called, though. I read an article today before we went live that it's like the Tar Heel Tribune or something. It's like the newspaper that they write for the kids there.
There's a Daily Tar Heel, and there's the other one. Go ahead.
Yeah, that might be it, but I can't remember which one it is. But the writers are going to stop referring to the athletes as student athletes because that's what they were. That was why they were labeled student athletes to begin with. That's why they didn't have to be paid. They said that they're going to stop labeling them as student athletes and naming them, like calling them college athletes or just calling them athletes or just referring to them as students. I was like, really? Really? You're a newspaper. I mean, what's the matter if you call them a student athlete or not?
That's
what
trivial.
is a rose but any other name? I'm somewhere in the ballpark with that.
A
quote.
rose by any other name would still smell as sweet, right?
It's still a rose.
Right.
And we've got this argument in a lot of things in our world today, Hunter, about be what you want to be or say what you want or what you are. You can call them, frogs if you want to. They're still student athletes or college athletes or whatever you want to call them. Pancakes. I don't care.
I understand what they're trying to do here,
right?
Because they're probably trying to back that the kids should get paid because that's kind of what could keep them being called student athletes was what was keeping them from being considered amateur.
The Tar Heel, the University of North Carolina Journalism Department's what's keeping these kids from getting paid.
Yeah. But
yeah,
that's what I was thinking about it. I was like, really?
It's so silly.
What's it matter at this point? We've been calling them student athletes for God knows how long. Why does all of a sudden be like, I think it'd be more respectful if we call them college athletes or athletes or students.
This might be the dumbest. This might be the dumbest thing. This might be dumber than 2 + 2 is 5. This is just dumb.
I'm just saying, man. I couldn't believe it when I saw it.
What color is Bigfoot,
like,
Tom?
Yeah. What color is Bigfoot? He's blue.
So on the way to the golf course yesterday, they have there's a gas station up there, and across the street in the woods, there's like a 7-foot tall Bigfoot, cardboard cutout. Like I guess he's wood. I don't know. But the only reason I noticed him this week was because somebody went out there and put a mask on him.
Yeah, I got the story right here. UNC student newspaper will stop using the term student athlete in stories. It was created in the 1950s to deny football players workers' compensation. It is the Daily Tar Heel will use college athlete, or student as the context requires. We've been using this since the 50s, and all of a sudden it was like, I don't think it's PC to use it anymore.
No, but remember people used to say we call them student athletes because they're students first, right?
Exactly. That's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what they want you to think.
Yeah,
They're
whatever.
pulling the wool over your eyes.
Like Cardell Jones. What did Cardell Jones? They didn't send me up here to do no school.
That's what he said, yeah.
I think Rashad McCants said something of that nature too.
Yeah.
Man, that's one thing also, Hunter, that
They didn't recruit me to play school.
Well, that's one thing that puts me off about Carolina a little bit. Besides all the things they've done, is the way they treated and handled Rashad McCants. They're calling him, he's the big snitch on campus, basically. But
Right.
Somebody's got to tell the story at some point. And if it wasn't for Rashad McCants, the Tar Heels wouldn't have a championship. There's a lot of those Tar Heel fans love them some Raymond Felton and Sean May, but those two fat boys were out of shape. And Rashad McCants carried them to that title.
They were hot dogs. They were hot dogs.
Oh,
Sean May and Raymond Felton were hot dogs.
dang sure they were. They had the buns and everything.
But I would like to say, let me say this. I remember what exactly Cardell Jones said. I didn't come to play school, is what he said. but, which is pretty awesome. But he did graduate from Ohio State in 2017 after making that tweet in 2012. So I think what happened, Hunter, is he grew up. He grew up.
It's crazy how that happens.
Grew up. I'll tell you what else he did for you. He got you a national championship.
He did.
Did he sign with the team?
He was drafted by the Chargers. It didn't work out there. And
he was in the XFL.
That's what I was wondering. Since the XFL, has anybody else picked him up or anything?
He might. You know what would be funny is if he went back to Ohio State as a professor of something.
Oh God,
that would be awesome.
Probably as a quarterbacks coach, maybe, but
he might be a professor of archaeology or something. You don't know. Let's see.
He used to call him because his number was 12. Used to call him 12 gauge because he had
12 gauge. That's right. He did. Let's see.
12 gauge.
Oh yeah, I remember when he was third string and they brought him in the game. It's this Cardell Jones, a third string guy throwing darts.
Yeah, he came in. What was it?
Yeah.
JT Barrett was the one that got hurt, and then somebody else got hurt, and then Cardell Jones came in. And it's like, man, there definitely is never a rebuild at Ohio State. It's literally just reload.
Yeah, Seahawks. Seahawks was the last pro team he was with, Kevin. He is not currently with the team. Buffalo Bills, Chargers, Seahawks, the Defenders. He had his contract terminated when the league suspended operations April 10th, 2020, and he is now, I guess, unemployed. Somebody will give him a chance, though. They ought to bring him up to Cleveland and give him a chance. Hometown hero. Maybe they'll bring him up there.
I'll tell you where he won't be, Canada, because apparently they've got a lot of financial problems with the CFL right now.
Do they?
A lot.
Oh.
Where the season might not even happen.
So what's the deal with the XFL now? Dwayne Johnson has bought him, and he's going to just what's he going to do? Just pull a Vince McMahon and finance everything himself?
I have no idea what his plans are for the XFL.
He only paid $15 million for him.
I mean, gosh, how much are the Dallas Cowboys worth?
Dabo Swinney makes $9 million a year. So Dabo, in 2 years of coaching Clemson, could give every one of his players he's had the last 5 years a job. but we worried about there's no money in college sports.
Yeah.
But the college coach could buy the XFL in 2 years.
He's got a partner and a lot of other people invested in this with him as well. Like, it's not just all him. He's got a business partnership. It's a woman. I can't quite remember her name. But he went on, he did a video where he was giving a lot of credit to where he obviously is today. He said, I tried the NFL scene, got hurt, but ended up in the CFL. And to me, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to make the XFL, still keep the name and everything, but if he didn't try and make it a little bit closer to the XFL, or I'm sorry, not that, it's the CFL.
All right,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Quick math on that, Hunter. If they have 10 teams, and each player's paid $50,000, it ends up being about $25 million. and he bought it for 15. So he needs someone else to, I mean, that's only half the players if you got 10 teams. So did they have 8 this year? I think is what it was.
Yeah, 8. They had 8.
So, like,
4
does
and
he
4.
own all the teams?
Right. I think that's how it's working. They don't have individual owners.
So
if he's
But
smart,
that's what
he
I
would
think
he
they
would
need to do.
Yeah, if he's smart, he would sell each individual franchise for like $5 or $10 million.
But why did
Yeah.
McMahon bail so quick?
It's one of those things from what I've heard or read, Tom. It's the guys in NASCAR, the guy that just Levine Racing who just closed it down. He said, and I quote, "I'm not going to shut down our family." I don't know if it was roofing or some type of business or hardware store, something of 61 years to struggle doing this. So does he want to take money out of his WWE coffers and take the value out of that? Remember, we can't play 2 seconds on YouTube without him valuing that. So it's one of those, from what I've seen, is that it's not worth the time and the money for him and his money. And then he's also getting sued by the other owner, Oliver Luck, Andrew's dad. So he's probably get sued for more than he just sold the $15 million for. It's almost like he's just getting totally out of it, like altogether. I think he thought he was going to make a big initial investment and then make a big set, and maybe even sell the league or his half for that $150 million. And then all this just he couldn't have been any worse timing for poor Vince McMahon. We don't call him poor, but
I think he's doing okay
for Vince McMahon.
He's 0 for 2 on football leagues, though, fellas. He's 0 for 2.
He is. I think Dwayne, because we got to remember, Dwayne, of course, is an entertainer first. We know that. But where he originally got his start, I mean, he was a football player. You know, he was at the University of Miami. He bounced around in the CFL for a little while before he went to wrestling, because the NFL, he got injured and it didn't quite pan out that way. So for him, he's got the football mindset and he's got the background to where he could be able to put together a pretty good league. The problem is Dwayne going to be able to have the people around him that is going to be able to help promote the league? Because it's going to be hard to get people to buy in on a third time, definitely. But I don't think it should be difficult if people understood, like, hey, this was completely out of Vince McMahon's hands that it even failed in the first place. I mean, coronavirus shut down everything. Everything. They just didn't have the footing, obviously, like the NFL and everybody else has, where, if we miss a season, I think we'll be okay.
But he acted like he can't absorb that. Like Kevin said, this might be like a financial millstone around my neck. He's worth $1.8 billion. Kevin.
Yeah.
1.8 billion with a B. Give me a break.
I feel like
can't get rich giving away $100 million.
He could have done a restart. He could have done a season restart. I just know that their mindset and their plan was definitely not to compete against the NFL at the same time, because they know, like a lot of other sports know, if you're playing on the same day as the NFL, you're going to lose that battle. Seriously, like football is king. People say America's pastime is baseball. I'm sorry, but like football is king. That's just the truth.
Well, baseball was at one time.
At one time, yes.
I think you would call it the pastime because there were so many more games to keep up with. But with football, there's only 16 games. But the news cycle for football now never ends. And I think that's what makes it the pastime. Because not only are you talking about the games, I mean, like when baseball's got 160 games, what are you always talking about? Well, you're talking about what the guy did last night. What we're doing with football is there's only 16 games. But how much have we talked about Dak Prescott's contract, Mahomes' contract, blah, blah, blah. And that's why it's the pastime, Hunter, because we never stop talking about it. Kevin pulls the plug on it on Saturday because he don't want to hear about some of this stuff. But really, if you turn on the media, that's all you hear about, what's going on in football.
They know what the exciting sport is and what draws all of the headlines. The headlines is either football right now or basketball, and that's because it's the big plays and it's it's literally a superstar driven league, especially basketball.
And when they're not, this is something else they talk about. Like, I think the Bleacher Report came out with who they thought they ranked the offenses of each team 1 to 32. Did you see this, Hunter? They ranked the offenses 1 to 32, and then like somebody else says, "You're full of crap. This is what they really are," and it just goes on and on and on, and that's what creates this It's just, and it's we might not even play a football game.
I think we should start a show. It's just nothing but bad predictions, because people will argue to the death about their prediction, and then you never hear about it the next day. Being like, "Well, that was stupid. Why are we asking about this weekend's game?" That's like when Andre picked the Q Foundation beat Chris. We quit asking him any other questions. And Shannon had an 80-point. Yeah, what a
bad take.
How about Hunter when Shannon had that 80-point swing on a pick?
What do you mean?
He picked something on the board for one team to win by 40, and the other team won by 40. So we were like, "You missed that one by 85 points, Shannon."
Oh,
Go ahead.
I'm just saying that's why I think that the XFL could really, if there's a good leadership around it, obviously with The Rock and his ownership group that's in there with him, and if they could get individual owners, that's what I mean by like football is king. You can't, like when Terry used to poo-poo it, I'm just saying like how you can't have football in the spring. Of course you can. People starve until football season because they want it so bad they make up stories the whole off season and people still pay attention to it. What would it do in the spring?
Terry just poo-poos it because we all like it. That's why he poo-pooed it. That's all right.
It makes sense to me. I asked Terry one time, I was like, "Terry, you mean to tell me you would much rather sit there and watch an NC State versus NC State spring game where no one's really trying over an XFL game?" And he was like,
Yes.
"Yeah." Oh, God.
Yes. I would rather watch that. No,
it would cost $2.5 million to pay for a team. You could easily get Mike Trout could buy 9 teams.
He'd probably have better success with that than
Patrick Mahomes could buy a few teams. All right, so Hunter,
better if it was. I'm just saying it would work better single ownership because then it wouldn't come down to the league to finance all 8 to 10 teams that have the 50+ players.
Right.
That's
right.
How, That's right.
That's what
what makes the NFL work.
I agree
so
with you. Yeah, if you find some, I mean, it's not even that much to invest. Is what my point is. Jordan could buy 4 or 5 teams. Somebody could buy if all you need is $5 million. If the whole league for 8 teams sell for, $15 million and all the rights and everything. I mean, how much does a franchise cost? $1 million, $2 million, tops. I mean, come on. So real quick, how I don't understand the stats. I was pulling up the Major League Baseball stats, Hunter, and I clicked on WAR. And Trout is 50th or something like that with 0.3 WAR. Not a single player, Tom, on the Oakland A's has a positive WAR.
But they got the
They're
best
12-4. Yeah. The Angels are 5-11, and nobody on the A's has a plus WAR. But the center fielder for the worst team in the American League has more WAR than their whole lineup. He's 0.3 WAR. Their whole lineup, I'm looking at it, their whole lineup combined is minus 0.3.
And which one do we give a chance to win a World Series this year?
Well, the A's.
Exactly. It makes no sense.
The A's whole lineup is minus 0.3 WAR, and Trout is plus 0.3. His team's won 5 games in which he's been helpful and won maybe 2 of them, and then the A's have won 12 games and nobody has a WAR over positive. I don't even know. I don't know what to say about any of that.
What's the other guy that got the big money in Philadelphia? Harper? What's his WAR?
It was Bryce Harper.
What's his WAR?
Right now,
that was bad.
He's not on there. There's only one. There's only 100. There's 5-6 people that have won one WAR so far. Tatis, Yastrzemski, Crawford, Charlie Blackmon, Sterling Marte, and Mookie Betts. Cesar Hernandez is 10th. And Jose Ramirez, 12th, Tom.
Well, you know how I feel about WAR. You know how I feel about it. I like what's your batting average with the runners in scoring position? That's what I.
That's the easy one. That's the best one. Home runs, Aaron Judge, Tatis Jr. With 8, Castellanos with 7, and Moreland at 4. ERA, Trevor Bauer. 0.93 is leading the league right now. Surprising. RBIs, Tom. Aaron Judge has got 19 RBI in 20 games. That's not bad. Won a game. I mean, the record's 190, I think. So if you
I think they've only played 17.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Major League Baseball record's 190 RBIs a game. Yeah, I mean in a season. or 191. Hack Wilson, I think, is when he still had that. Bonds, McGuire, none of them could even get to that point. I'm still flabbergasted by them letting in these second place teams for no discernible reason other than geography. So you guys got a nice geography. You get to make the playoffs. That's what they're doing.
Yep.
Milwaukee gets in at 6 and 7 right now. I'm a bitch about it, but Cardinals gonna be better than that. But still, real quick, last thing on this: good news, bad news. You talk about the Cardinals, Hunter. Good news is every day they don't play is the day that Yachty gets to play. Bad news is they're probably playing a crap ton of double headers, and he's not catching double headers.
Yeah.
So he's gonna miss a lot of those games as well. I just wish they'd get back to playing.
Why not have him catch 5 or 6 innings and then take the rest of the game off and then do the next game?
It wouldn't be a bad idea to catch the starters.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea. I don't know how he'd feel about it. I'm sure he wouldn't care. He seems to me like somebody's just like, give me the. He had planned actually to catch all 60 games this year. He said that was his goal. So I don't know about with the double headers. I'm sure they don't want him out there in the heat like that. So anyway, all right. There's your baseball. NBA ends Thursday. We're almost done with that setup. Ready to go. The preseason is about over. And we're ready to play some basketball. I'm ready to see some real games. Competitive means something. Right now, playing Oklahoma City and Phoenix is playing in the bubble. So is Dallas and Utah.
Should I feel bad that I have no interest in the pre-playoff bubble?
I don't either. No, I mean, there's no. This is to me, Thomas is preseason basketball.
Interest.
Yeah,
I have interest only because of one team. I want to see what Portland does. I want to see if Portland gets in. That's it. That's the only team.
Well, it's the only one's got a chance right now. It's everybody else is over with, and they're just playing.
Well, this is the thing. The Grizzlies loss.
Yeah.
With the Grizzlies' loss, it guarantees that there will be a play-in game, in fact, for the 8-9 spot.
Well, it's a good thing.
Or for the 8 seed between the 8 and 9 teams. So it's probably going to be Grizzlies versus Portland for that 8 seed.
They got a half a game on right now.
Well, Portland could use some good press because all you hear on the news is it's a war zone. So hopefully this will be a good distraction for the people in Portland if their team gets in.
Players probably don't give a rat's ass
no,
about
they probably
any of that,
don't.
do they?
They probably don't.
Not a bit.
What was that?
That is Dad.
Oh, okay.
Who would ring twice? He's probably got the pink. I don't know what he's doing. Hold on.
Okay. But I have to admit, Hunter, that is one good story in a it's like one good chapter in a relatively boring book. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I just have no interest in it. I mean, one thing, my team's not in it, but that's because they're not very good. But when when everybody's sitting, everybody, and if you look at the minutes, like I looked at the minutes on Saturday, that a lot of teams aren't playing their stuff. Like it's rare for a guy to get above 30 minutes. I mean, they're just not.
Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me though. It doesn't surprise me that it's hard to get somebody over 30 minutes. You're asking them to come back in from being off for almost 4 or 5 months now. That'd be kind of tough.
But they all got indoor tracks and gyms in their house and all that. All of them do.
Still,
it's not the same as playing. I know it's not the same as playing.
They're getting ready to go 0 to 100 miles per hour within 2 or 3 weeks, however long this has taken. Because they're getting ready to just start playoffs. So for them to be able to ease back in, I can kind of understand it. The reason why I've enjoyed watching it the most, besides seeing if Portland is going to make it or not, because I think they are a big X factor for whoever draws them in the first round, is because I get to see what the other teams have lost by what players have opted out or if a player's gotten injured. Like, think about it. The 76ers, because of this, have lost Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. They both have gotten injured. So that's going to be a shakeup in the East. Whoever plays them in the first round might actually get a pretty good free pass. The Raptors have continued to show that, okay, they still might be contenders for a championship this year. And then I've looked out west, and I saw what the Utah Jazz have done. And since they lost Bogdanovich, that offense is horrible. So I could pick anybody to beat the Jazz in the first round. So that's where it's been intriguing to me is I just get to see what teams use this time to come back and pick up where they left off and what teams after this time have come back and they're lackluster and they're probably going to get bounced in the first round.
Memphis has Milwaukee and Boston left to go. I want to make sure that's the only
I feel like
two.
they got screwed, though. That's the only team to me that feels like they got screwed.
Simmons, they're saying, is out for the season. Wow.
Yeah, he had to have surgery.
Portland has 2 games. That can't be right. They're half a game behind them. So how are they got? One's got to have 2, another 3. I've got to be missing. Portland at Dallas. Portland and Brooklyn. And that's all I'm seeing. Surely they're not going to decide that on a half a game. And they did it.
It looks like what they're going to do.
They surely have figured that out. That's crazy if they did. If not, then Memphis has only got to win one of those 2 games, I would think. Or no, they got to win both.
Do you think they can? Yeah. Can they do it, though? Can they win both? I don't know.
Depends how hard
'cause
Boston and
and
Milwaukee's going to try. It depends how hard they're going to try, too, though. Or if you're either one of them, are you playing against Memphis hard?
I don't know. I don't know. To me, though, I feel like the better team to make it should be the Trailblazers. I think they'll put up a better fight first round against the Lakers, if not bounce them. Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're a better matchup. I'm just, of course, I'm looking at these standings like we were the baseball standings, and I'm just trying to figure out what kind of dumbassery are we doing here. Like, they should have figured that out, where everybody plays the exact same number of games. Not everybody plays 8 once this thing starts. Like, if you've played 63, everybody should play 70. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if some team had maybe one more game left on their schedule than the other, then they had to play 9 games in the bubble instead of 8. Yeah. Yeah, that can make sense, yeah, but I feel like that is what's going to happen. They're going to come down to a half a game. That's exactly what's going to happen. Either that, or they should have. Well, no, you can't throw the record that they have out the window and just say your bubble record is, because the Phoenix Suns haven't lost yet in the bubble. They haven't. They're 5-0. Unless they lost the other night, but they've won their first 5 games.
Well, speaking of losses, Hunter, the Wizards were so bad at this that
they just don't care.
That you listen to this, Hunter. I mean, Tom. They started off in 9th when this bubble started. Now they're 11th. The 10th and the other 2 teams didn't even play. They did so bad, Hunter. They ended up behind the Hornets and Bulls. The Hornets moved up into the 9th seed based on games behind because you guys were so bad in the bubble.
How far back are the Hornets from the 8th seed now? Because what if the 8th seed just loses the last 2 games?
6 games.
Okay, never mind. They can't make it.
No, they couldn't. They couldn't.
Suns are playing right now, Kevin. They're
Yeah.
down 2 to the Thunder. They're down 2.
That game means nothing.
They have won 5 in a row. You're right, Hunter. They have 5 in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, they're balling. They're balling.
I say it means nothing. Let me change that. Grizzlies, Portland's a half a game behind them. San Antonio is only 1 game behind Memphis, and then Phoenix is a game and a half. So Phoenix pretty much has to win all their games to get in totally.
And they only got today and Wednesday. Let's see, what was it today? Well, no, they play tomorrow too. Yeah, so they probably play for the rest of the week. No, they play today, right now, tomorrow. They play against the 76ers, which they could win that game too with no Joel and no Ben Simmons. And then they play Thursday against the Mavericks. They might lose that one, but you never know.
Said Embiid is day to day. Yeah, Embiid's day to day, and Simmons is done.
He's day to day. But here's the thing, though. You guys just finished saying it. They've already locked up a spot, so why would they play him?
Yeah, true.
That's the truth. So, I mean, the Suns could go ahead and win that. Let's just say this, because they're only down by 4 right now to the Thunder, or 2 now. And it's not even halftime. They could come back and win that game. That's 6 straight. Win tomorrow against the weakened 76ers team. That's 7. And then all they have to do, if the Mavericks are locked up and sit Luka and sit Porzingis in them, they could have went undefeated this whole bubble and still not make it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just I'm coming full circle. I just ready for this to be over. Let's see the meaningful series. I am glad they haven't really had a problem with the coronavirus. I mean, they really haven't had any problems with that. Yeah.
Here's your matchups right now: Clippers and Mavericks, Nuggets and Jazz, Rockets and Thunder, and the Lakers waiting to play either Memphis, Portland.
You guys still didn't give Dallas much of a chance. They've gotten a lot healthier.
I think they need one more piece.
You're probably right.
I think they need one more, and this is what they need. They need a wingman.
And they're still
They don't have a wing guy.
Yeah.
Every team, you need a wing guy to win a championship, and you've had to since basically Jordan was there. It's not. It's Luka's awesome. And Porzingis is great.
Right.
If they get one wing guy, if they had Kawhi on their team, I'd pick them.
Yeah.
They might have Paul George on their team. I might pick him because he's such a good wing. If they had Durant, I'd pick him. But I think Dallas, if they had some just solid wing play, could give the Lakers a chance. I think the Lakers or the Clippers match up good with Luka. Luka's good, but they can run Kawhi and Paul George at him at least to make him work. And that's, do you want 30 points a game? You have to have 30 points a game from your point guard. And that's tough. It's almost like they almost need Hunter. A good trade for them, I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud, would be like Chris Paul or somebody to run the point.
Take the ball out of Luka's hands.
Right, and give it to him when he can get the ball away from half court, like closer to the three-point line, closer to the end lane, and do some stuff. Talking to a guy the other day, he was saying he thought Luka was this generation's Larry Bird, very close to it, but he does way more ball handling than Larry. Bird's almost like a mixture of Luka and Dirk. He's like right in the middle of both of them. He's not quite 7 foot, but rebounds. Him and Dirk both got double-digit rebounds.
I
Luka,
think what hurts the Mavericks is, besides them possibly needing another key piece, which I can agree with that, whether you want it to be a point guard or a wing player, that's completely up to you. But people can't forget, their 2 stars are young.
Yeah,
Luka is still young, and Porzingis, a lot of people forget, he's only been in the league 5 years. He never finished out his stint.
Any stars, Hunter, under 26 leading or winning anything. So I totally agree with you on that. It's hard to win. Jordan won, I think, at 27. LeBron was either 26, 27, 28 too when he first won his. It's just between being mature at basketball and having the right circumstances with teammates and players. The combination between it's between ages 25 and 35. That's your window.
I'll say this though, I don't see them getting swept. I don't think the Clippers sweep them.
No.
I think the Mavericks take at least 1 or 2, but they'll be at home. I don't think they win. Well,
none of them will be at home.
That is one game I will say when that one's on TV, I'm gonna try to watch one of those. Yeah, I think that's an intriguing matchup.
I just want to see who guards Luka.
Well, that's a great question.
Or
Who
Paul
is?
George on them.
It would have to be. It's the Lakers. They'll have to, or the Clippers. They'll have to put one of those guys on him, wouldn't he? He's so tall. Was he going to shoot over their other guards?
About 6'8", isn't he? He's 6'8".
He's close.
6'8" or 6'9".
I would say
6'6".
No,
he's bigger than that. No, I think he's.
I think they said he was 6'7", but I mean, it don't matter. That's still big. And
he's listed at 6'7", 230.
What I like about Luka's game too is
depending on what his haircut is.
This is why Luka will last for such a long time. Is he doesn't rely on raw athleticism.
No, he's not. He's not breaking his own ankles out there. I don't think.
No. I'm just saying,
yeah, you're right.
He will last for a long time because I don't want to put it this way, but I mean, he's got the old man game down. I mean, he's got the YMCA ball game down.
You're right.
Like shoot threes, make them jab at you a little bit and go by him if you need. I mean, his athleticism is not what's going to lead him to a championship at some time. I think he gets one at some point.
The Joker's killing it for doing. I mean, listen to the wings here for the Mavericks guys. Got Seth Curry, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Max Kleber. Like, is that beating LeBron? Is that beating Kawhi and Paul George? Like
the only one on there that can score really is Seth Curry.
Hardaway can if he gets hot, but he's not. Neither one of them are studs. They need a stud wing.
You think they would do good if they make a trade for DeRozan?
Yeah, that'd be
I think
good.
his contract
anybody
comes up, or not even
anybody that's 6'6" and can guard and shoot. I just want someone. I want a wing that can shoot and guard.
You're talking about
one guy.
Trade away.
You're talking about for the future, right?
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I'm
obviously
talking
can't
about
do it right now.
There's nothing they can do right now.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Only thing they do right now,
not
Tom, is
right
give
now.
Bobin more minutes.
See, but in this crazy world, did they make some kind of rule? It's
didn't
like
know.
because everything's
Here's
so
they do
crazy.
have the kiss
at the end of the year.
They do have the kiss of death on their team. Michael Kidd Gilchrist.
MKG.
Do you believe it or not?
Is in Milwaukee.
Think about how wild that Kentucky team was. In that championship game, Anthony Davis scored 2 points and they won. MKG was so lauded in college that he went as the number 2 pick and he couldn't outshoot half of Cleveland County.
Yeah, I know.
Like, what a weird team. Tom, I made a bet. I think it was with Chris or somebody over there that Anthony Davis would never average 20 in the NBA. Like, if you scored 2 in the national championship game, why would I expect you to do anything? Montross got 20 in the championship game. I'm not sure, but Anthony, if you're the next legend, you got 2. I thought that was awful, but yeah. So I don't think anything from the Jazz or Thunder is going to happen. The Rockets dusted the Lakers the other night. I don't think they want to play them. If their first round matchups are Mavericks, then the Rockets, and if they somehow get out of those two, then that means they'll have Denver Clippers in the finals. So, I don't know, Hunter. What are the odds the Lakers actually get out of the West? Lower, 50, bigger, lower or higher than 50-50?
I would say 45%. I'm not going to give them a 50% chance.
Guy.
I'm serious because to me, it really depends who they draw first round. I'm telling you, if the Portland Trailblazers draw the Los Angeles Lakers, who is stopping? Damian Lillard was mad the other night and dropped 51. You don't think he's got something built up inside of him right now that he's trying to prove? Who's guarding him? You going to make LeBron spend all his effort on defense?
I just want to know why Luka is number 77.
I don't know.
This bothers me.
Why?
That's a weird number to have.
He wants to be unique.
That's very unique.
I'm going to have to read an article. I haven't read it yet. Interesting what it says. The article's headline is, "The NBA will be Luka's league." I don't know. I think you might get an argument out of Zion Williamson on that, Hunter. What do you think? I think it's going to be Zion. I think it's going to be Zion.
I'll tell you what, Luka will win MVPs as well, and he'll win scoring titles. And he's in a better organization, so he'll probably win a championship before.
Yeah.
That's just how it will be. Tom, I just got something quick to tell you really quick.
Sure.
Scott Frost come out and said for the University of Nebraska, our university is committed to playing no matter what that looks like and how that looks. We want to play no matter what it is or where it is. Someone speculated, one of
Where's
the
he
major
at?
Nebraska.
reporters. He is at the University of Nebraska.
The
Team.
The straw poll was Nebraska and Iowa were the only two the teams to say yes.
One of the major reporters, I'm not saying his name, but said this gives credence to the discussion or speculation that some of the Big Ten schools could seek alternative paths to playing in 2022. So, Tom, if Ohio State wants to follow Nebraska and Iowa to go play other teams, hey, this is your opportunity. Go play with the big boys down south.
We've always played. When we won our national championship, we had to beat Alabama. So we've played with the big boys down south.
Come on now.
Forget back in '86 where everybody thought LSU was going to win the national championship and Ohio State beat them. We beat the boys down
until
south.
One of these coaches says, "You don't pay me this year. We'll give it to all the students." These guys coming on saying, "So here's your coach, Tom, swinging as hard as we possibly can right now for these players. This isn't over. #fight." Jay Billis will want to know: does this mean you're fighting the college presidents? is this going to be on pay-per-view or the Big Ten Network?
Is he fighting them or is he going to fight Jim Harbaugh?
What I'm saying is, guess who's going to get involved next? The lawyers. Here come the lawyers. You know that's coming next. Someone's going to sue. Mm-hmm. Someone's going to get an injunction against this vote. Blah blah.
Nebraska and Iowa voted to play. You're right.
I will say this.
Yeah.
I will say this.
See,
Tom,
Kevin just doesn't think I read anything, even though I do.
No, I just want to make sure.
He has to
I just want to
fact
make
check
sure
on
I'm
everything.
100% right before I say something.
He's not fake news. He is not fake news.
Well, Kevin, I think it was you that said until these coaches start giving up their salaries to start taking care of these players, you don't think he's going to play this year. And that would be the only thing I think keeps some of these teams from playing this year is, in fact, the players basically saying, well, if you're not going to give us representation, we'll just sit out. The
Florida Governor DeSantis said if the Big Ten schools want to cancel, the SEC and ACC should go after their best players and let them play down here.
Yeah,
no, that would violate all kinds of rules, I'm sure.
Well, Tom, if there are no rules, there are no rules.
I guess.
If the NCAA isn't going to sanction the sports, then there are no rules. Then we'll play the Washington whatever football team you guys are up there.
Football team,
whether you roll a soccer ball out there or not, we'll
exhibition.
They'll play. I'm going through some of the tweets on here, Tom. I'm trying to see everybody bitching and complaining about it.
I don't think it's over yet, though.
It looks like it's Big Ten and Pac-12 versus the SEC, ACC, and Big 12.
And Big 12 and ACC are on the fence of what the rumor mill has. Because, the ACC does have they have Boston College, they have Maryland, they've got.
We'll trade them out for Nebraska.
I'm just telling you, boys.
Trade who out?
This isn't over.
Trade Boston College out for Nebraska. They both. Nebraska might have more success.
This would have been all made simple, like we said at the start of the show, start of the year. Just put it in the spring, then we won't have to be arguing about this.
Yep.
And then we won't be having to sue each other. Like, they could have went down an easier path.
I think that's the next step, though. Is that not the next logical step? Yeah. Is to go ahead and move it to the spring.
Mm-hmm. They just waited too long, though.
I'm trying to pull up something for you. Somebody made a comment earlier. I want to make sure they're right on that too.
You definitely got to. And the reason why I keep saying they waited too long is because you're knocking on the doorstep of when the season should start. Like, come on now. You should have made a decision a month ago, or you're just gonna have to cancel it right now.
Since 2000, Ohio State with 2, Southern California with 1.5 championships.
1.5.
Well, it's split. LSU won one vote, and Southern Cal won another vote.
That's right. That's back when they used to vote.
Right. So their point was that if the Pac-12 and Big Ten don't want to play, then who gives a shit, because they're not competing for the championships anyway. Just bring Ohio State and Southern Cal into a conference, and then you're good. That's the only thing you really need to do. I mean, Michigan ain't even beat you on 15 years or something like that. It's getting out of hand with them.
It's what. It's not that like people say, it's not like a rivalry anymore. It still is the game, but it is nice beating them every single year, I will say.
Think about this, Tom. As far as you're in Cowboys and Redskins fans, like, and Terry, they ain't won anything in 25 years, but to beat the Redskins all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hunter, but they at least had that to brag about. I think you'd have seen more Cowboys fans losing their minds if the Redskins were actually winning titles, and even though the other two have won, that one it's like if your rivalry. Once Michigan starts winning, then that's when Ohio State will look themselves in the mirror and change something.
Yeah,
I would imagine before any of that. All right, guys. Hunter, is anything big news or specific anything come through the web since we've been talking? I know we always seems like we missed something.
Nope. I've been looking. I've been trying to see if there's anything breaking news or not.
So this question that Shannon says, what is he asking? It said if they cancel the Big Ten football season, do the Ohio State football players qualify to receive unemployment?
He's trying to say they're getting paid, even though.
But he doesn't want them to, or believe they should. But they are.
It's sarcasm. Paid. It's sarcasm that he thinks they're getting paid under the table, so now they can get unemployment.
Shit. Well, my question is, do the coaches get unemployment then? I mean, what should the coaches be taking their $8 or whatever $1 million salaries if you're not going to have, especially at a state-run institution? Should those coaches be taking those salaries, especially if they're not going to have a sport? And is that what all this is? All the fighting is actually about? Is if what happens to my contract if I don't? I saw one coach. They said he voted for for them not to have it. They said that's how you keep your job there, coach. It's not have a season this year. Yeah. If you think you're about to get fired, why wouldn't you vote? Hey, we should probably push this back another year. What do you think about that one, Tom?
Yeah, there's so much speculation out there. We'll have to see. I'm sure that even the bad teams still want to play, Kevin. They still want to play.
When we come back next week, we'll be back for Hunter's Thong Report.
That's right.
I think that's working.
That's right. That's right.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Hunter, see you Wednesday on more Shock Jocks. Zach will be here Wednesday. KDCBroadcasting.com.